Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and as promised, here is the project video using the Hope set from the Altenew haul video that I did earlier for you. Now I'm starting off this card with a pre-made card base, and then I'm taking a die from my Tattered Lace square die set that fits just inside the 6x6 card base here, and I'm then drawing around that to use that as my template for my stamping. Then I'm taking my Hope set. Now, as with a lot of the Altenew stamps, they come as layers, so we're starting off with layer 1 and we're using the Iceberg. This is one of the new colours that I also got in that haul video, so I thought it'd be kind of nice to use one of those. So the very first layer, that's kind of easy to work out. You just plonk it wherever you want your stamping to be. For my stamping, I am using my Tim Holtz stamp platform, but you can of course use any kind of regular stamping blocks or whatever you like. I personally do like a stamp platform for a layering stamp. I just find that particularly if you're doing multiples of it, it just works really well, but also if you mess it up, you have an opportunity to redo it. So then we're doing the second layer, and it shows you on the back here what parts you want to line up. So I've just pointed that on the back, and then I'm pointing it to you on the actual stamp, and then you can see where that curve just matches the curve of the image that you've already stamped. And then you also want to look at, it's telling you that there's a line at the bottom that also needs to be lined up, which we've done, so that's all perfectly lined up. I then collected that onto my stamp platform lid, and then I am inking it up with Eastern Sky, I believe that was. But with all of these, I will put all of the products, I guess there'll be all of them really from the haul anyway, and you can see there that it stamps beautifully. So then the next layer, we've got a couple of bits that we can use to help us, so we're just going to pop that down. So the first bit is obviously the center there, so that's nice and easy to work out. Then we want to twist it till we find that little V. You can see it through the stamp, probably easier by eye than you can on the camera. And then once I've lined those up, I'm just stamping that using the ultramarine, and again it turned out beautiful. However, what you may notice with this stamp set, and whether or not they've corrected that, there are actually 4 layers. Look, if you count them with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's a 4th layer. However, as far as I can tell, there's only 3 layers being shown on the guide on the back. So this 4th layer we're going to do ourselves together. So we're going to line up the center first of all, so you kind of work out where that is, and then there's a little V there to the left, and there's a little V there, and there's another V there. So we're going to line all of those pieces up, and obviously there's a little line at the bottom as well. And then I'm going to stamp that with the 4th color in that collection, which I can't quite remember what that was. I think it said agate, but I couldn't quite remember, and I couldn't quite read it in time. And again, you can see that turned out lovely. So now we're going to stamp the center. So we've got the centerpiece. Now this is relatively easy. We're just lining up that top curve and then that pointy bit at the bottom. The only hard part I found was that it wants to stick to me, so that's why I was using that little pokey tool. I thought I'd go for something a bit different and go for a purple center, so I'm using hydrangea. So I could have gone paler because there are 2 layers, but I wanted to have a quite strong center. And then again for this layer, we're just lining up the top arch. The rest of it was kind of guesswork, to be honest. It was quite hard to tell. There were so many little bits. And then we're using ultraviolet, the next darkest color in that collection. And I think that looks really, really nice with that purple center. So now we're on to our leaves. Now you'll see there are 3 layers for our leaves, and so the first one we're doing is, I'm just making sure where it's sitting, but it's our main layer, and I'm going to be using greys. So I've gone for quite a nice warm grey. Again, I think this is one of the new ones. This is limestone. and I'm just stamping that down. And then I've done another one there at the top, but what you'll notice is I've done a mask because I wanted the leaf to look like it was coming from behind. So when you've got a mask down, unless you've got a really nice thin paper, you want to give it a good push, because otherwise you'll find there's a bit of a gap between the paper and the bit there. So then we're doing the layer, so we're getting the second layer, and you basically are just lining the top arches of those leaves. It's pretty easy to work the leaves out. You can see there the marks that it's asking you to line up, and the stalk as well. However, with the mask, it makes it a little harder to line the stalk part up because you're going over something else, so it makes it a little harder. So you're really basing it around the actual leaves themselves. And again, just going up in darkness, so that was Industrial Diamond, and just gradually getting that darker. Now we're going for the little bud, and again I'm leaving my mask on because I want it to come from behind my flower. So using the same colours as I did for my leaves, I'm just stamping that base of my bud, and I've done a second one there as well. Then we've got layer 2, which again is pretty easy to line up because you've got like the bowl of the bud and then the V in the center there. And then again, just taking the second darkest color as we did for our leaves. And then our third layer, again, it's relatively easy to line up. You've got the same sort of shape, and just popping that down again with the next darkest color. And then we've got the center of our bud, so you want that really to match the flower, because obviously it's meant to be coming from the same plant, so you want that to be the same color. There are 2 layers, so you want to do really which 2 you've done sort of 4 different blues in my case, so it's just picking how dark you wanted it. I felt that a bud would be slightly darker and then get paler as it opened, but I didn't really know, and I'm not sure it matters, so I just picked sort of, I think it was the second and the third colour in the range of blues that I had there. So now I'm going for my sentiment, and I'm just using the very dark grey pure graphite to stamp Hope, because again I wanted to keep it within the stamp set, so we're going to keep that as a in this case Hope You Recover Soon, so a get well soon card, and I think that's a really nice sentiment. And then I literally just used the die, cut it out and stuck it onto the front of the card, and I wanted to keep it really simple. I did feel though that it would be really nice just to add a couple of drops of the Nouveau glossy drops. I don't know their proper name, it's basically glossy accents but in Nouveau, and so I thought it would look like little raindrops or little dewdrops on the actual flower there, and I just thought that would be really pretty. You'll need to see that, I think, in the photographs, because you'll see it when it's dried completely and it's crystal clear and it just looks so pretty. So that's it. So definitely make sure you go on across to the blog post for the haul video, because that will all be on the same blog post, and also a ton of photos on this card, and of course links to all the products, not only in this card but in the haul as well. So if you want to find that blog post, it's really simple. If you're on YouTube, just click on the show more in the paragraph below the video and you'll find the link right there. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.
Looking up at a pale pink sky, it's telling me I'm gonna be alright. I'm gonna be alright. Say hello to my Mr. Moon. Like nature, I will be renewed. I will be renewed.